Your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
Happy Monday. Welcome in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. First of all, let's give a shout out to the first female to go platinum, the Brat. Happy birthday to the Brat. Shout out to her. You are locked in with Jill Munroe for your entertainment news update. I hope your weekend was soothing, that you are relaxed, you got some snacks, some beverages, and you're ready to get in on all the trending topics that, of course, have been buzzing up and down your timeline. You know the vibes. It's Monday and the culture stayed busy over the weekend, of course. So we are giving you a bit of everything tonight, from luxury brands getting exposed on TikTok. Maia Campbell, you know her from In the House. She was on a Fox sitcom South Central with Lorenz Tate for a minute, and she has had her ups and downs with mental health struggles, but she's back on Instagram posting, and she has a request for a project she'd like to work on, so we're going to get into that. And, you know, Coachella was this weekend. We mentioned it last week that it was coming up, and it seems that it was bringing people together that we never thought we'd see potentially in the same room being cordial again, right? So this is your front row seat to the culture. And of course, before we get into the headlines, you know, because they hit a little bit different, we have to get into a few conversation starters, things that broke out over the weekend, of course. So first up, we've been keeping tabs on Anthony Edwards. Yes, we have. And over the weekend, when the Timberwolves were playing the Memphis Grizzlies, Anthony hit the free throw line. And the crowd, you know, they yelled things out for distractions. And this time, what they yelled out? Child support. Over and over. Let me tell you, even Ant had to laugh. If you can find the video, because it's out there, he was even laughing at the crowd chanting at him. He did make the free throw, though. So there's that. Shout out to the playoffs coming up. Go Lakers. Andy.
You know, I got something to say.
What you got to say?
I can't do it like Shannon Sharp, but Lakers in 6.
Okay, not Lakers in 5, Lakers in 6.
I'm going to put a little bit of respect on Anthony Edwards' names, but I'm sorry. Timberwolves ain't got no chance.
I mean, you know, I know. Hence me starting with the Timberwolves story, just to let you know. They're not exactly sharp and focused.
Do we continue the chants in L.A.?
Listen, L.A., if you were in the building, you sure better. Something. Come on. Stand up. Make it out there, right? Make it out there. All right. Also, listen, we are all fans of The Best Man film and TV series, right? We traveled with those people through 2 film versions and most recently The Best Man final chapters, which appeared on Peacock. But if you thought that was the end, it isn't. The Best Man is coming back this time as a book series. So director Malcolm D. Lee, who also wrote the series, is chronicling the lives of some of our favorites that were featured in the films. And I believe it starts off with Jordan, who was played by Nia Long, and Taye Diggs' character, and his wife Robin, who was, of course, played by Sanaa Lathan. And, we're going to get what happens finally with Harper, Jordan, and Robin. Maybe Jordan and Harper will finally get together. We don't know. But in addition to that, it is going to also go into some of the other character stories broken out like that. The first one is The Best Man, Unfinished Business, and it's going to be released July 1st. So make sure that you are locked in for that and checking that out, because I'm a big fan of books anyway. So make sure you get into that. And finally, Megan Thee Stallion, she was at Coachella lighting it up. Body was tea, performance was tea. You could watch it on YouTube if you weren't in the desert. And she also brought out some icons to the stage. She brought out Queen Latifah, who performed UNITY, and something else I can't remember, rocked the stage. So it was dope seeing Queen out there with a new school rapper. I was just talking about how we don't see enough Queen Latifah as far as rapping, and I loved it. Andy?
How was Queen Latifah dressed?
Queen Latifah was dressed fly. She, had her Queen Latifah look on.
Okay.
She looked how she was supposed to look for her.
Okay.
It was appropriate, and she looked good, and her hair was fly as always, like we love. She also bought out Sierra and Victoria Monet. So, and her and Victoria Monet's set was very, very bootylicious. A lot of lap dances and all of that. And Sierra popped out with goodies. It was a performance you don't want to miss.
You need to go on YouTube now.
Yep, get on YouTube and check it out. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into this luxury brands exposed on TikTok. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up. And we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall. Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card. They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Get it? With the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in to KBLA Talk 1580. Here with Jill Munroe for your entertainment news update. Now listen, before we get into these topics and headlines, if at any point you want to get in on the conversation, 800-920-1580. Hit us up on social media, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. And you know the YouTube chat is always bustling over with conversation. Join us there. Andy?
Shout out to the homie Morris. And shout out to you, Jill, for your response. I just wanted to put this out there.
Okay.
I've been a Clipper hater since Chris Paul joined them.
Oh.
I feel like it's starting to switch around this year.
That was one of my eras when Chris Paul joined
Lob
City.
I felt like that divided LA, first off. It was, at least for me, in my circle.
Okay.
It was a whole bunch of Clipper fans that came out of nowhere.
Right.
And was disrespectful to the Lakers and Kobe at the time.
A little bit.
And that's what, made me become a Clipper hater. But this season, I don't know why. I'm still a hater. And I hope the Nuggets and the Clippers, they go 7 games and just destroy each other. But I can't believe I'm over here like, I'm rocking with Harden. I'm rocking with Zubac. Kawhi, not so much. But I'm kind of like, I want to clap for him. I really want to clap for him because I just thought after Paul George left and everybody, I just thought this year wasn't going to be too good with Kawhi and his injuries. But he's come back, and he's proven a lot of people wrong, including myself.
We'll see. We'll see. Show and prove.
No love for you?
I said we'll see. I did not boo them. Right. We shall see. All right, listen, and shout out to the WNBA draft going down tonight. Shout out to the ladies out there. Andy.
Paige.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Where'd she go? I didn't check.
She's going to Dallas.
Okay, to the Wings, but they had the first pick, so that makes sense. Go ahead. The Wings have had some tough times. They lost Skylar. They, been kind of just out there in the mix a little bit, but shout out to them.
Doesn't Enrique play for him?
Does she? Did she get traded to them? Recently, right? Was she part of, is that the trade that happened from Seattle, the Storm, where all the pieces got traded out?
I don't know too much about the trade, but I felt like she played for the Wings. Okay. And I was like, yo, her and Paige?
That's going to be nice.
It's going to be nice.
That's going to be nice. So we'll see what happens. Locked in, WNBA season gearing up in about, 6 weeks now? So we'll see what goes on with that. All right. So for all you luxury brand consumers out there, this may have been a shock to you, but China is not chilling on the tariffs that President Trump is lobbying on their goods. And if you've been keeping track of things the past, 30, 40 years, you know that a lot of our items come from China. Didn't used to be that way. But as businesses sought to increase profits for their shareholders, they started taking jobs away, factories, etc., out of the Midwest, the heartland, and things of that nature, moving them overseas to increase profits. And, 30, 40 years later, some blame that for the decline of the middle class in America. A conversation for another time, perhaps. However, what is going on right now, what Trump's tariffs have sparked is a wave of Chinese factory owners hopping on TikTok, spilling the business on brands like Hermes, Lululemon, and others, discussing how they construct, get the materials and the hardware for these luxury designer items, especially the bags. They showed an Hermes bag being put together, where they got the leather from, how much they paid for the leather, where they sourced the hardware from, like the zippers, etc., where that came from. And they tell you how much it costs to put together. For this particular bag, without the Hermes stamp, it was about, I believe, $1,900, something around there. You go to the Hermes, I don't want to call it a store, not an outlet. No, I'm talking about the boutique, right? Because they're not just a store, it's an experience. It's an elevated experience. You have to get on the list to even get in the door, to even order a Hermes bag, right? Catch that tea, right? And it's been like that forever. This isn't something new. This isn't something that social media caused. It's been like that for a long time. They even talked about it back in the day on like a Sex and the City episode. So, 25 plus years, longer really, but that it's sort of been in the pop cultural ethos, so to speak, right? Well, what they broke down is what they do after they construct the purses. They then ship them to Italy. And from there, the brands put their stamp on them. And realistically, right? If you live in LA, if you live in New York, I'm sure it's like this in other places. We know people used to always go downtown to the alley, right? If you're in New York, people would go to Canal Street, right? So it's not like it's unknown that similar factories, it's always been a conversation. Hey, you could get this over there. But maybe sometimes some of those factories and some of those items weren't properly put together. Right? But these people are saying, hey, cut out the middleman. Come buy your luxury items from us directly. Now, will they have the Hermes stamp? No, but it's the same bag, same hardware, same lining, same items, minus the price. And here's the thing, even with the 134% tariff, right? You're paying $1,900 for a bag that retails for about $30,000, maybe $40,000. You're still going to come out on top paying that $4,000. And that is what they are putting out there to you. They are talking about some of the shoe brands, I don't know if they mentioned Louboutin, but, some of the higher end ones that come in 36, 37, 38 sizing, not your 6 through 9 or whatever shoe size you wear. Correct? So they are knockoffs, but are they? If it is the same thing minus the branding. Now, here's the thing. I am a luxury item consumer. I like luxury items. I'm not obsessive about it, but I like some things. I do. Always have, always will. There's going to be some things in there. I like my touches, right? But at the same time, have we gotten so far with consumerism that it may be needed to be exposed in this wide manner? Once again, it's not new things. And, some of your favorite celebrities quietly might have been rocking knockoffs, but you wouldn't question it because it's them. Do you know what I'm saying? Chad Ochocinco used to talk about how he would buy his diamonds, his earrings from Claire's because you don't know the difference. Do you know the difference between a high quality 5-carat cut? The average person may not. And they know that in theory, he could afford to purchase it, so they're not questioning it on him. So I am not advocating that you go and buy a knockoff. And I understand the difference. I am just saying that they are removing the middleman and they are like, what you want to do? I'm going to hit you where it hurts. Andy?
Wow. I think about like growing up, right? And it was just like the thing to wear, a name branded, clothing item, right? And I remember when I got to like college, and I guess like that kind of like shifted, right? I would start seeing people with tank tops, shorts, open toe sandals with the toes out and stuff like that. So like college wasn't too much of a fashion show.
Right.
But, it's interesting because like when I looked at Hollywood, whether you're watching your favorite TV show or your favorite movie or whatnot, you didn't really see them rocking too many name branded type clothes.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Unless they're on the red carpet, right?
Right.
So it just had me tripped out. I'm just like, yo, I'm over here watching Martin, and it looked like he got his outfit, which looks dope, probably like from Ross or something like that. So just the whole idea of wanting to go get something name branded was just kind of interesting. Like, did we get that from the music videos? where did that really come from?
Consumer, I think that it is a thing that started in the 80s. If you think back to that time, right, that's when designer jeans really became popular. Of course, there were luxury handbags, there were luxury items and lines, but I don't think that it was coveted by the everyday consumer like it started up when the designer jean came into the mix. Like jeans now can be worn everywhere. Back in the 80s, it was shameful to wear denim, right? To a casual thing. Jeans were not something, generally speaking, that you were supposed to wear. Like wearing jeans as an elevated look going out at night, that is, relatively speaking, something really considered fashion or fashionable in that take. So when you had things like Calvin Klein, nothing comes between me and my Calvins. That's kind of what made Brooke Shields really take off into the stratosphere as far as a young model at 15, and Sassoon and all of those things at that time period. Jeans went from Levi's, like dungarees is kind of what they referred to them, to a high fashion item. And then I think you think about the consumerism of the 80s, what it was built on, like Wall Street heavy and the whole dynasty era of everything, and Reagan. Lifestyles of the rich and famous as far as television and things of that nature. I think it started to build up. And of course, we like flash as a culture, as a people. We like a little sprinkle on our mix, right? And so if even in our early music, we were calling out name brands and stuff, even if it was regular price, Adidas, in theory, were reasonably priced sneakers, right? When they first came out. Run DMC were rocking Lee jeans. Think about this. When people dress up as rappers, who do they dress up as? What looks like Run DMC with the hat, and I'm talking about the costumes that are available like on Amazon and stuff like that. A rapper kit, a big chain, a t-shirt, those hats, and the gazelle glasses. That's all DMC and Run DMC, the aesthetic that they set for rappers. So I think that it just, it's an evolution of things, and we've gotten really caught up. Andy?
Sounds like things got bougie in the 80s.
They did, yeah. Yeah, a little bit. We had our grunge era, but even within that type of stuff, people always point to, oh, this person, you see, they're just wearing a plain black turtleneck and jeans. They're not spending a lot on it. That plain black turtleneck might be silk or cashmere and cost $950, and they just happen to have 12 of them in their closet. So be for real, but also just be careful. Like I said, I enjoy luxury items, but within reason, right? Andy?
I could respect that, but damn, you got people who are homeless, $950 for a shirt.
I mean, we all have our vices, right? We all have our things that we spend on. But listen, people are talking, so I want to know in the chat, and obviously people in the chat are saying, no way. Royal Jenkins says they are knockoffs. Trouble Funk said the clothing on their funk rap punk me up old school hip hop. I guess he's talking about regular clothing. Listen, we evolve. We are very, very materialistic now. We can blame hip hop a little bit, the bling era in hip hop, because you think Public Enemy wasn't out there shouting out name brands. Neither was NWA.
LL was.
If you think about it, LL was back in the day, but he of the Def Jam combination thing. If you think about it, Run DMC is from the tree. Obviously, the Russell Simmons younger brother, Run is. He managed them. LL was signed to Def Jam, which Russell Simmons owned. So their branding, their marketing, I know we don't talk about Russ in great terms right now, but his marketing genius and some of the things that he did in the 80s and he pushed forward revolved around setting the stage around art and fashion, because these were the worlds that he tapped into, being around NYU, and so to speak, during that era.
How about Dapper Dan? I saw a documentary where he was highlighted
Dapper Dan said that, look, Rakim, Finesse and Sinquest, there's so many groups, Big Daddy Kane, that rocked the Dapper Dan fits back in the day. What he would do is deconstruct, take like MCM, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and create all new outfits because he also could sew and put things together. So he is a forefather. He had a collaboration, I believe, with one of the luxury brands. He also had one at one period of time with the Gap. He is the forefather of streetwear, in my opinion, and that kind of design. But once again, he wasn't able to get into the houses and get them to loan the materials to him for these artists. Hip hop was a new genre, so it's just a lot. Part of our braggadocious was that we were shut out of these areas, and we wanted to show not only can we get there, not only can we rock it, but we can rock it proudly and fly. But there's always a tipping point, and we probably have reached it. But we'll see. When we come forward, we're going to get more into these trending topics, more into the headlines. We got what's going on with Maia Campbell, plus much more. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? The setting, a hot ass club, and you still be sweating me. I don't see nothing wrong with giving a little love, but just let me breathe. Damn, you cute as hell, so let's switch the digits. Then I got to leave, and you could buy me a couple of drinks, but I'ma go socializing. And I like it when you keep your eyes on me, and I like it when you touch my privacy, and I like it. Sex and ecstasy when the belt buckle loosen up. Undress me, already juiced up, that come naturally wax. On and off so romantically, no woman can slow dance or throw down like I can. Ask if you curious to know what I like, man. What do you like? A whole lot of foreplay right before you beat it. What do you like?
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Former Louisiana State University wide receiver Kyron Lacey, a 24-year-old black man, died by suicide after a police chase in Houston. Deputies say he fired a gun during an argument, fled, and shot himself after crashing. He had a standout 2023 season at LSU. Virginia Military Institute's board will meet this week to elect a new president after John Adams resigned. 2 members also stepped down after the board voted not to renew Cedric Wynn's contract, VMI's first black superintendent known for promoting inclusion. The White House has replaced a portrait of former President Barack Obama at the Grand Staircase with a painting of President Trump raising his fist after last summer's assassination attempt. Officials say Obama's portrait is still displayed elsewhere in the White House. And it's Black Maternal Health Week, spotlighting the fact that black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related issues. The week, led by the Black Mamas Matter Alliance, pushes for better care and fewer disparities. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Boyle Heights crash on the 5 northbound at 7th Street. Left lane's been blocked. They're trying to get everything cleared, and traffic is a mess out of East LA from Dittman Avenue. A wreck in Culver City, 405 South before Venice Boulevard. All the action's in the center divider. That drive loads up away from Olympic and South LA. A wreck on the 110 northbound past Adams. 2 right lanes are blocked, sending you back from Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Ontario, crash on the 10 eastbound at Milligan. These guys are off to the right shoulder. Delays are pushing back from Archibald.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
North Carolina A&T University was the site for the first class of the Black Sports Writers Hall of Fame. The event on the HBCU campus was Sunday in Greensboro, North Carolina. 3 honorees were inducted. Claire Smith, the first female beat writer to cover a team in Major League Baseball. Claire covered baseball and the Yankees for the New York Times for 47 years. Bill Roden, a graduate of HBCU Morgan State, was a longtime columnist for the New York Times and now writes for ESPN. Joining Smith and Roden is Michael Wilbon, a longtime columnist for the Washington Post and now one of the premier voices at ESPN with his popular show Pardon the Interruption. Congrats to Smith, Roden, and Wilbon for being the first inductees in the Black Sports Writers Hall of Fame. The Dodgers are 3-6 since starting the season 8-0. They dropped to 3rd place in the NL West Division for the first time time since June 18, 2023. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
no warrant, no key, my privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cow Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to Tyrese and that pretty smile in this video in the back of the bus with Maia Campbell. Because you know Andy is always on theme. Listen, we're going to get into that in a second. But before I do, this is really important. This Wednesday, April 16th, is going to be day 100 since the wildfires erupted in Altadena. And we're asking you to join us this week for our live nationally broadcast KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall as we commemorate this fateful day. We're celebrating the resilience of Altadenians and embrace the beloved Black community. It's important, guys. We'll be giving away air purifiers and $100 gift cards to the survivors. So please come join us this Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m. for our town hall, the Altadena Eaton Fire 100 Days and Counting. So this event is free. You don't have to pay anything, but you have to register. So KBLA1580.com, that's where you'll find all of the details. And remember, it's this Wednesday. Come and participate. Make sure that if you're out of state, you watch it online. But it is important that we talk about these issues as only KBLA can. Okay, so let's get into, well, before we get into Maia, we're going to put a pin into that. Let's talk about Coachella really fast, because since we're talking about, love and things of that nature, not that this was love per se, but it was a little interesting. So this is probably the Coachella reunion nobody saw coming. Chris Brown was spotted being very chatty in a, seemingly short from the clip that we saw, conversation with not only his ex, Karrueche Tran, but Teyana Taylor. Now, if you recall, he and Teyana allegedly got into it at a skate party Usher held in June of 2023 in Vegas. And there was some type of altercation allegedly because Chris did not feel Teyana supported him when he was removed from the American Music Awards performance tribute to Michael Jackson, right? So a little kind of backstory on that is Stephen Hill, who at the time was the president of BET, I believe, when there was also a performance, a Michael Jackson performance with Chris Brown that was killed because of network things, recently spilled the tea on network pressure and what was happening behind the scenes in that situation. I wonder if Stephen saying this publicly about a similar situation was maybe the catalyst for the conversation with Chris and Teyana. Maybe they've had one prior to that we weren't privy to, but it once again was a very intimate conversation, looked sincere. Everybody looked cool. Everybody looked good. And obviously, we know the history of Karrueche's breakup with Chris Brown. It happened when she discovered that he had impregnated his oldest child, Royalty's mother, Nia. They were together, he and Karrueche, when that situation popped off. She had forgave him when he left her to go date Rihanna again for a minute. But it brings to mind, we know that a great deal of the reason why Chris Brown receives a lot of the heat that he does are for incidents involving Rihanna and Karrueche. And I've said it before, neither of those women want to be looked at as a victim. So some are debating whether they were just playing nice and were really secretly uncomfortable in the moment. I don't believe so, but, people see things or project things based on their experience. Both women looked quite comfortable, in my opinion. And I doubt this was the first time that they had seen each other or spoken. But we don't really know. But it does bring to mind the question, if the alleged victims of this man's treatment have forgiven him and moved on, while I'm not suggesting that you have to be a fan of, a consumer of, or even involve yourself with him, do you have to keep animosity in a situation where the people that were closest to it and it impacted the most seem to have accepted his growth or what have you. Again, I'm simply asking you a question. I'm not telling you what you should do and where your moral line should be. I am just saying, if we are about growth, we talk much about growth and healing and these things. When it is in action and the people that were impacted feel okay, and it's not a situation per se where the actions then impacted hundreds of others based off of this, I'm simply asking, where do you draw the line? Where do you just say, not for me, and move around? Andy?
Great question. I don't have the answer.
Neither do I.
But I just think that there are some people who relish in victimhood for whatever reason.
I agree with that, because I think that sometimes being a victim also gets us attention. And sometimes people feel that that is the only way that they can elicit attention, compassion, or whatever. This is obviously a topic that is much more suited for someone else. I am simply saying that at some point you need to disengage from things that don't bring you joy and understand they might bring someone else joy, and just leave it at that. But that is simply one person's opinion, mine, and you do what you want to do. But they seem cool. And what I also will point out is another one of Karrueche's exes were in the building, so to speak, because we know Coachella's outdoors, for Coachella, very much involved in some of the spaces and places she was also in too. And we didn't catch any video of them. So didn't Karrueche date Victor Cruz for quite some time? I believe so.
Look, man, time heals wounds.
You know
what I'm saying? So, and at one point, I'm sure they confessed their love for each other, despite the, discrepancies between them two, after a while, you kind of just forgive and forget. And you know what? Hey, how you doing? You good? You look good. And that's it.
You move around. I agree. So I am correct. I knew I was, though. But I just wanted to give you guys the official timeline. So Karrueche and Victor dated for 3 years. They broke up in 2021. So there it is that. And, I mean, come on, people. At some point, don't worry yourself with things that are not important for you. That being one of them. When we come forward, we're going to get into Maia Campbell. She is someone that I am always rooting for, and I was very happy to see her face pop up on the timeline on Instagram. So we'll get into a little bit about what she hopes to happen in the future. All that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent. And the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember.
No warrant, no key. Privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say your thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So this next update, it makes me happy. Just going to say that. Maia Campbell, she's an actress. Like I said, she played Tiffany on In the House with LL Cool J, Alfonso Ribeiro, Debbie Allen back in the day. Kim Wayans, I believe, was on that show as well. She also was in Tyrese's video for Sweet Lady and another song too. I believe, I can't remember what that single was, and a couple other videos back in the day. But her mother was author Bebe Moore Campbell, and she's written several novels, one of which, when Maia popped back up on Instagram, she mentioned that she would love to make the jump back into acting with this particular project of her mother's. Let's hear from Maia directly.
Hey everybody, thanks for checking in and wondering if I'm okay. I'm doing great. I just wanted you to know that everybody keeps asking me what do I want to do with my career, and honestly I could say that I really want to get in touch with Tyler Perry and have him produce my mother's book, 72-Hour Hold. It was a monumental book for me. It was a New York Times bestseller, and July is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm still on that campaign. Keep me up in prayer. Thank you for praying for me. And I'm going to do my best to make you guys happy. I'll see you soon. Bye.
So if you're unaware, Maia suffers from mental illness. And she also had a bout with substance abuse, probably self-medicating the issues of her mental health. And the book of her mother's 72-Hour Hold, the summary, the basic premise, I should say, not summary. The premise of the book is it follows a mother's fight to save her daughter from bipolar disorder, exploring the challenges of mental health, stigma, and family bonds. So this book was inspired by Bebe's struggle to try and help Maia. This is something that Maia has dealt with off and on throughout her life since her teens. And obviously, when this book dropped, I think it was in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. As a community, mental health is just now becoming something that we are openly discussing, and the ideas behind therapy and the benefits of therapy. Back in the day, you were just crazy. And that was it. You might have had the old uncle back in the room locked up, that crazy auntie that nobody talked to, but we did not discuss mental health in terms of healing and treatment and being something that is passed down and something to work with, not something to hide or have shame about. So it is an important book. I think it is an important book for Black families, and I think that it would be incredible if someone like Tyler Perry, who is known for resuscitating careers in the Black community, for jumpstarting others, or for just giving opportunity. Some of the biggest paydays actresses have received have come at the hands of Tyler Perry. I think it's great material. We've seen him work with Toni Morrison's material for Colored Girls. Yeah, that's by Toni Morrison. No, I'm sorry, Nicotine Shang. That's Nicotine Shang. I apologize. But I feel like, you know, we talk about the different types of things that Tyler could do to infuse a different type of story, a different type of conversation around it. I think that adapting that would be something great. And even though it touches on themes he may talk about in some of his other projects, I think that just the way that it is discussed and the perspective could, you know, open up something new. So I am for it. Her personal battles with addiction, her personal struggles, she's been pretty honest. I mean, we've seen a lot of things, a lot of videos. That is one thing about social media. It can be hard to hide. And we have seen some of her very, very, very low moments broadcast to the world, sometimes from people who are opportunists, trying to take advantage, trying to exploit. But the one thing that has remained consistent is the people behind her rooting, wanting the best, to see the best things happen for her. So I would hope that would continue. Andy?
I hope LL is one of those individuals, because I remember when that viral video came about, you know, when she was, you know, under the influence, whatnot. I remember LL Cool J dropped the video and was just like, yo, if anybody has any contact information, please send that to me. So, you know, hopefully, you know, he's still supportive of her and supportive of, you know, this, you know, potential project.
I mean, because the thing, too, is that sometimes I think that people forget that when you are in the throes of illness or sickness like that, sometimes you can reject people that want to bring you help, and you hide and you duck. And so, you know, I'm glad to see that she looked beautiful as always, and I really want good things for her. So shout out to her. TP, reach out to her. I think she's out there in Atlanta by you. So, I mean, come on, pull it together. And she grew up right here in View Park. Her mother lived right here in View Park. You know, our Black Beverly Hills. I know people don't like that title, but have respect to the abundance of Black excellence. I don't really like that term, but you know, that took up space in these neighborhoods.
People are challenging that term, Black excellence, which is interesting. But I thought Ladera Heights was Black Beverly Hills.
I think, to me, it's collectively View Park, Windsor, Baldwin, and Ladera. I think that if you think, because they are about a 3-mile radius of each other, each have had key entertainers, politicians, noteworthy individuals inside of our community take up residence at various points in time. And so I think of it collectively as the area. You know, there's strength in numbers, and we're here, we out here making waves. So shout out to them. So listen, we have time for one last story before we get out of here for the night. And this one, you know, it kind of hurt my heart. We talked about this at length, and y'all not feeling Will Smith, or he really is blackballed, okay? Will Smith's album sales are in, and they're a little rough. So Will Smith's based on a true story album isn't moving like his movies. According to The Blast, in the UK, it sold 268 physical copies, and there is no placement at all on the US Billboard 200 charts. 0. And this comes with features with Big Sean, Jaden Smith, Teyana Taylor. It still struggled to connect, right? He has a tour kicking off this summer based on a true story. It's his first headlining tour ever. It's July 13th in Hamburg, Germany, and he's hitting the Europe, UK, and Morocco. One single from it, his gospel single, You Can Make It, which featured Friday and the Sunday Service Choir. It hit number 1 on Billboard's gospel airplay chart, which was his first number 1 since Getting Jiggy with It. But thus far, crickets. What's going on, y'all? Andy?
Come on now, I'm not surprised at all.
You not?
Nah. I mean, like, what was the promo run that he had? I mean, I know he was on a couple podcasts or whatnot.
That was the promo run.
But like, and I guess, you know, this is why I miss shows like 106 in Park and TRL and stuff like that. It was a big deal when an artist would drop an album, and it didn't feel that big, to be honest with you. And if you think about today's generation,
they need something bigger.
They grew up with Will Smith as an actor.
I mean, he
not
was
as a rapper.
doing, you know, the Doechii activation where they reenacted the anxiety moment and stuff like that.
It ain't enough.
Clearly, because y'all said no. Do you think he's blackballed? Do you think that it is still them saying, oh, you think you're going to move around?
Nah, he's not blackballed.
I mean, people just aren't feeling it.
What were the numbers with the most recent Bad Boys?
They were out of control. Exactly.
So it's not blackball with music. I just think he just, you know, not tapped in with the music like that for today.
All right. Well, that's tonight's rundown. You know, TikTok calling out luxury brands. Hit me up in the DMs if you want the connect for the guy that posted on TikTok. Seriously, they're all around if you're really looking for that. Those unexpected Coachella reunions, and we're going to continue to support Will and say, hold it down, hold it down. Look. This is why I tell you guys to stay tapped in with me Monday through Friday, because I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you with receipts, and I'm going to give it to you raw with just a little bit of sprinkle on it like you like it. Thanks for tapping in with me. I appreciate you. Up next, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow.
You could get down on the road and you feeling all alone. Don't lose sight of where you're going, cause I know you can make it. Yeah, I know you can make it. Ooh, I know you can make it. Yeah.
You are in the smoke and the fire, tightrope on a wire. I see you broken and tired, and all your hope is expired. You're just done with the chains and the games and the shame, and the world is insane.